I made a big mistake.
This man is hiding in the shadows.
You guys beat him. At least you were supposed to.
Because the timeline changed. I need to know, in the future, what happens to me.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. They just dropped a new preview for The Flash episode 1. We found out who the meta of the week is, and it's a huge Easter egg for Bart Allen in the comics, making me think that Nora is probably going to be the Bart Allen of the Flash TV series henceforth. So I'll explain what's going on. We also got more details about Sherlock Wells, the new version of Harrison Wells this season. If you're new to the channel, there's a new round of that Flash ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. First big image, Barry and Nora fighting Gridlock. Remember, he's wearing the Season 1 costume. It actually looks pretty shiny in these images here. These look pretty polished. He's wearing this because they destroyed the Season 4 costume when they blew up that satellite. That's why it was all ripped up. Nora's already introduced herself and explained the problem, and everybody's still scratching their heads, but there's a meta. That's sort of the call to action for them to call the party short so that they can go save someone, and you actually get the excitement of Nora teaming up officially with her father. Remember, she helped him out during the Season 4 finale, but that was kind of on the DL. He didn't know that it was happening. You get a much better look at her XS-inspired costume. The reason why her emblem is really small on her chest there and not really big, painted all the way down like it is in the comics, is because they use those emblems to embed tech, anything that they might need to fight the villain of that week. So, Gridlock in the comics is actually straight out of the Impulse title, which is Bart Allen's solo title after they first introduced the character. The fact that they're calling the episode Nora, that's the title of episode 1, and they're pulling from Bart Allen for her very first outing officially as part of Team Flash, just implies that she's always going to be the Bart Allen of the series. So that means she's the combination of like 3-4 different characters. Barry and Iris's twins from the comics, Dawn and Dawn, both named Dawn, Jenny Ognotz, who's his granddaughter by his daughter in the comics, and Bart Allen, who's his grandson by his son in the comics. So that doesn't mean that they'll never do those other characters, but it just implies that they're going to stick with Nora as their young speedster from the future. So I'm just not expecting to see Bart Allen pop up anytime soon. Or if he does, maybe it'll be on Titans, which is set in a different universe, so it doesn't necessarily cross over with these Flash characters. But in the comics, Gridlock was a normal person that was fired from his job as an urban planner that later gained the ability to steal kinetic energy from people. So he has the ability to steal speed from Barry and Nora. So I think that's also a bit of a setup for Cicada's powers, which is mostly killing metas, but also taking away their power or draining them of their power, like we're all thinking about Cisco in the future. So just remember, every year in episode 1, they always lob you a softball explainer with some other small villain for big concepts that they use later on for much bigger twists. So really small tease here, negating or taking away Barry's speed. In the future, Cicada really taking away people's powers in a big way, because that's why Nora said in that trailer, in the future, originally, before I messed stuff up, you guys were supposed to beat Cicada, but now he beat you because of something that I did. So if it wasn't clear, the thing that she did was come back into the past and interact with these people, fundamentally changing their lives. Ripple effect, butterfly effect, changing things down the road so that they were not able to defeat Cicada. You also see these pictures of Nora here continuing to explain in that scene that we saw during the trailer. So I kind of messed things up. I'm not sure what to do. Do you guys have any ideas? And the rest of Team Flash is just scratching their heads. Like, I love the look on Caitlin and Cisco's face, like, oh, hell no. The funny thing about Nora in the first couple of episodes is that she doesn't just live with Barry and Iris. She hops around and stays with different members of Team Flash, which I think they're just going to use for a little bit of comedy and to sort of set up that tension plot that she has with Iris. Like, she's not such a big fan of Iris, so she tries to find ways to go stay somewhere else so that it's not so awkward for her until they work through whatever drama that is. We meet the new Sherlock Wells. He's just going to be a detective that will help them track down Cicada. So in the way that they do at the beginning of every season, you get a teaser for the villain in the first couple of episodes, like Cicada pops up at all these places where disasters are happening. We see him without his mask on here, so that means that we'll probably see him in broad daylight eventually, also just walking around like a normal person, and we won't know who he is. I mean, we, the audience, will know who he is because he's being played by Chris Klein. But you can have a scene where Iris West walks by him on a sidewalk without knowing that he's Cicada, or you can have Barry not knowing that he's Cicada. The weird thing about the IMDb for episode 1 is it's also listing the new Spin character from the comics as being part of the cast. I don't know if this is incorrect. That's a character that can actually make someone's worst fears come to life, but they're using them as a more of a news reporter, social media person in the context of the TV show. So maybe while Iris is doing her blog reporting about all these meta attacks happening in the first couple of episodes, you also have this other news person doing the same thing. Albeit she's one of the metas that they have to take down, so maybe there's some plot where she turns into a villain over the first couple of episodes. But then obviously Nora gives him the Flash ring, we get the new Flash suit. So the thing about this is that most of the behind the scenes pictures haven't done it that much justice. Like this picture here where they're teaming up together, it looks cool because they're teaming up, but it doesn't do the Flash suit any favors because they haven't tuned the color up in post-production, they haven't lit it correctly, so it's going to look a little bit shinier when we actually get to the episode. But a lot of you have guessed correctly because she comes from the future. This is a future version of the suit. It's not ultimately the last version of the suit that he wears because the suit that he's wearing in that future newspaper has a chin on it. So Grant Gustin has been teasing people about when they're going to get the chin back. There was the promo for the 3-night crossover that they released where he has the new costume on and it's still chinless. So I don't know if they were just trying to avoid spoilers like, oh, we don't want people to know that he's getting the chin back, or if he really will go halfway through the season before he gets that back. I think part of the idea for them trying to do this version of the costume is that it looks better coming out of the Flash ring when they do the special effect. Like look at the comic book version of this. It looks like very thin cloth, so they may have just decided in post-production that it was easier to do the Flash ring special effect if the physical suit looked a little bit more like this. You guys all probably know what's going on with Arrow. Titans is actually getting its premiere at New York Comic Con. I've gotten screeners for the first 3 episodes, so I have watched the first one, so I already know what the pilot looks like. I'm under embargo. I can't say anything about that until after the premiere. So my non-spoilery Titans Episode 1 review will post during New York Comic Con in a couple weeks, and then a couple weeks after that is when the official premiere is, when everybody gets to watch everything. So without giving anything away, some of the things that people were complaining about after seeing the Titans series are incorrect. The trailer is very misleading in the way it presents the series. Some of the things ended up being very different. So I'll explain all that stuff after the embargo is up, no worries. But September 15th is when the beta officially opens for DC's streaming service. And for those of you asking about international countries, I've heard both Netflix as a solution for where episodes will go and also international versions of the streaming platform. So hopefully they'll reveal more details about that later this year. But don't worry, they will find a way for you to be able to watch the series. They're in the middle of casting Swamp Thing right now too. They said that it's going to be a hard R horror series. So if you've been waiting for hardcore Swamp Thing, it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. But we probably won't see a preview for that till sometime next year. And just a reminder, Young Justice Season 3 is premiering in January sometime. We'll get a more specific date when we get a little bit closer, so no worries about that. But what'll happen is I'll name a new giveaway winner when I post new DC. Click here for my new Avengers Phase 4 video, and click here to rewatch that last big Flash trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome.